What's up, guys? NepentheZ here, and welcome back to another episode of the Road to Glory. Today, guys, is not going to actually be really anything about gameplay or the specific Road to Glory, but more a bit of a discussion about gameplay, some gameplay-oriented things, and a few other things that we've got going on in the comments. So first of all, if you're enjoying the content, drop a thumbs up. Second of all, let me know in the comment section down below how many games on average of Weekend League have you been playing this year. It'd just be interesting to see what everybody is like, people that watch the Road to Glory, what you guys have got going on. And so yeah, basically just want to, like, we used to obviously respond to a lot of comments in the Road to Glory. Since about last year, since about FIFA 20, the kind of structure of Road to Glory changed a little bit. It's a lot more live content now. But that doesn't mean I don't read the comments, and that doesn't mean that there aren't still certain topics and subjects that I think are valuable to talk about and discuss the ins and outs of, and that's what we're going to be doing here today. So, the first comment is from Mark Maguire, and he said, I hate how skill cancels are becoming more common in this meta. So unrealistic seeing someone cancel their way up the field, glitching defenses, and I couldn't agree more, right? And I'll be the first person to admit I complain about this game a fair bit, and I abuse the meta mechanics, and I abuse the overpowered tactics, because if you want to win at all costs, you have to, right? And I don't even really want to win at all costs, because if I wanted to win at all costs, I would probably like work harder on being just a better FIFA player. And there's another comment we'll come to where we discuss that in just a second. But every year there's a meta. Some years it's football-esque, and some years it's just not. And this is one of those years where it's just not. You don't, like, FIFA 21 genuinely isn't a football simulator, right? It isn't. It is just a video game, right? Just like Call of Duty isn't like real war, because you can't just come back after you've been shot in the head 10 times. And, you know, Rocket League isn't real cars. Like, when a car explodes, you can't just be like, oh, I'm back, right? FIFA 21 isn't a real football game, right? It is just a video game. And the easier, the better we kind of like respect and accept that, the more fun we'll have on the game. With that being said, you're absolutely right. Skill cancels now, and specifically the McGeady spin cancel, is extremely overpowered, right? But skill cancels in general have just taken this game to, again, not even now being about who's the better player as a football player, but about who can glitch the best. And it creates, again, a real toxic gaming atmosphere, which is a bit sad. One of the things I saw on Reddit today, which I think we're going to see more and more of, which I'll be honest, I'm going to try and implement into my own game, and I'm going to show you guys here what it is a user on Reddit put up a fact that they've not found a way, because it's probably been in the game the whole time, but they've started abusing long throws to score goals. And obviously having somebody that can head the ball would be good. But you see how the player's standing offside? You can't be offside from a throw-in. And he scores the goal. And then the next one here, look how he does a long throw all the way down, and now he's in on goal. And it's one of those things that I certainly think now we're about to see it a whole bunch more. As I said, I'm certainly going to start to learn to abuse it. And some players have the long throw trait and some don't. And if you ever wanted to figure out if somebody in your team has the long throw trait, you can just go to Footbin, put the... which one is it? Miscellaneous? No. Is it this one? No. There's one of these here that has traits. Is it this one? Long throwing. Here we go. And also there is a giant throwing. But let's have a look at long throwing first. Which one was it? It was here. Select and search. And so players that have long throw-ins that are typically in people's teams, Jerome Boateng, not that you'd really want to be taking it with him, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Marquinhos, Gareth Bale, Kieran Trippier, Kenny Lala, that Kappa card, Digne. Not really too many super meta overpowered players. And then giant throw-in. Let's select and search that. Why has it still got the long throw in there? Has it still got long throw in ticked? Oh, why? Here's giant throw-in. Okay, let me get rid of long throw-in like that. And let's have a look at giant throw-in. I wonder if it also counts it as long throw-in. There we go. So giant throw-in. It's an even worse player pool, really. But it's a thing, right? And I'm sure you don't even need the long throw-in trait to get some distance on a throw-in, right? I'm sure basically anyone can do it. So, yeah, skill, like, one of the things we've complained about generally in terms of gameplay over the last few years specifically has been the lack of balancing from EA. EA just don't balance the things that are exploited at a high level. And when I say high level, I don't mean Elite 3 or higher level. I mean, like, if you play Champs level. Because if you play Champs, I don't care what social media has kind of convinced you to believe, but if you are somebody that regularly plays Champs, you are a high-level FIFA player. I just guarantee you that for a fact. In the pool of FUT Champs players, you might be a low-level FUT Champs player, but in the general pool of all FIFA players, you are a super high level, right? So skill cancels becoming far more common, in spite of the fact that I use and abuse them, is frustrating because it means that the beautiful game, one of the main reasons why we play this game, is not even there. And hilariously, I tweeted out a couple days back. Let me find the specific tweet. I said, and I quote for me, I said, did I say anything? Where is it? How long ago was it? Basically, in a nutshell, I asked, why do you play FIFA? What keeps you coming back to FIFA? And a lot of the responses were, I love football and this is the best there is. There are certainly other games. PES is out there. There's a few other football games. There's Football Manager, which certainly isn't everyone's cup of tea. And also, you don't play Football Manager. You play Football Manager, but you don't physically control the players. But a lot of people responded with, I love playing football. I love football. I love watching football. This is the best we've got. And it's so sad that the best we've got doesn't even represent the sport that we love. So whilst, yes, I absolutely engage and get myself involved in the things that are overpowered, that's the desire to win. But it would be nice if EA just balanced this game a little bit more. It really would. Next comment is from Darren Mills. And this is where we go with regards to too many skill cancels and glitches and things like that. Darren says, you would have won for sure, talking about the Arsenal past and present game from last episode, if you just did things more simple. You ball or past the keeper, then tried getting closer instead of shooting on at least 2 chances. You should have just shot past his Russian keeper. Then, of course, there's a Sol pen. So, just to be clear, taking the penalty with Sol Campbell wasn't the reason I missed the penalty. Because if I would have taken the penalty with anybody else on the field, I would have still shot in the same position. The keeper still would have saved it, right? I just miss a lot of penalties this year. That's just the facts. It doesn't matter if I'm taking it with Timothy Alewa, with Ronaldo, with a meme player or whatever it is. I just miss a lot of penalties. I've accepted that this year. It is what it is. It in itself is becoming a bit of a meme. In terms of if you would have won for sure if you did things more simple, you are absolutely right. I would have won that game a lot. I would have won the game anyway, but a lot more comfortably if I just did the simple stuff. And this is where there's a really weird kind of conundrum within gameplay. And that is that when you play against better players, you need the glitchy skill move cancels and all of the overpowered tactics and stuff. Because that's what's required to kind of like outmaneuver your opponent. When you play against lesser skilled players, and I'm not saying my opponent was lesser skilled, he beat me, fair and square, that's where it's at. But when you do play against lesser skilled players, simplifying the gameplay usually results in a considerably more comfortable win. Simple passing, simple 1-2s, simple passing patterns, because they don't read the skill moves and skill move cancels, so they're not trying to predict some extreme glitch or anything. They just defend what they see. And one of the things that I've got really good at very recently is most certainly abusing the skill move cancels and the glitchiness that's within the game with the bridge and the directional nutmeg, the shot cancel, the skill move cancels, etc. But with me putting so much time and energy into that, one of the things that has kind of subsided because of that is my just general football play. And I'm like, obviously, if you're a super high skill player, that's not going to make much of a difference. But I actively have to work hard at being good at this game. I'm not naturally good at this game. I have obviously some natural skill at this game. Otherwise, you can't even really get that good at it. But I actively have to consciously tell myself one thing or another to be good at this game. And even then, whether or not I'm good or not is completely up for debate. I am certainly having fun with the game at the moment, in spite of the fact that it's not a football simulator. And I think that is genuinely because I have just come to accept the fact that it's not a football simulator. And it's just allowing me, like, I sit there, like, before you even today, and I haven't played much champs this weekend. I'm still just 1-1. But what I have done on the Road to Glory over this weekend is do the objectives. And I did the Bundesliga player, and I did the Silver Stars player, and I did the La Liga player, because I want to complete all of these objectives before Team of the Season starts, right? And I did them not in protest of FUT Champs, but I just sat here and I thought to myself, what do I want to do? And I want to do this. I also want to get champs rewards and stuff, but I can get packs and picks and stuff any time of day or night, right? We can just go and grind League SBCs and we can get packs. No problem at all. We can get packs anywhere. This Dallas, I can only get from one area of the game. This Asensio, I can only get from one area of the game, as well as this Niederlechner, I can only get from one area of the game. And I actually think it would be cool to put Asensio and Niederlechner into a team and play with them. So maybe today we'll get some final champs games in and see what we can do. But I actually have like a desire right now to just play FIFA. Doesn't matter what game mode it is. I'm just enjoying playing FIFA, and that hasn't happened for a fair while. And it's obviously a good time for it to happen, because with Team of the Season coming, we're going to be playing a whole bunch more FIFA. The next comment we've got is from Ryan. He says, how are you going to do a past and present Arsenal team and not use a kit for it? I just got to take the L on that one. That's an oversight from me. I should have put the Arsenal badge on. I should have put the Arsenal kits on. That is just the fattest of L's for me to take. No question about it. Have I even got the badge? I haven't even got the badge. I don't have the badge, but the kits I most certainly do have. Well, I have the home kit, and that would have been enough, So, yeah, that's just my bad, right? I apologise. I take that one on the chin. That's my bad. Oh, Ronaldo in an Arsenal kit. You love to see it. We've then got two more comments, and they are very contrasting, and one is positive and one is negative. And I absolutely don't want to jump on a train of what we used to do in the Road to Glory, where I would kind of address negative comments more than anything. And we got in this real bad spiral of me addressing something negative, then somebody else would post something negative because they thought that's what they had to do to get attention or whatever it may be. And we just got sometimes into really horrendous cycles of addressing negative comments. But these go hand in hand because they're super contrasting and super valuable. And I just want to give maybe a little bit of perspective to some people that think like the second commenter here. But the first comment is from Krillin. And Krillin says, I don't want to speak for Nep, but it seems like he actually enjoyed playing FIFA with this squad. And in spite of what the second comment says, I did have fun with this squad. Even though I lost, I came out of the game, and yeah, I know I could have done better. I know I could have won the game. I know I should have probably done better. But even with that in mind, I still thoroughly enjoyed myself playing with this team. I really did. It's not a meta team. Yes, there are some very good players. I certainly forced it through Ian Wright a little bit, almost willing him to do well. But when push comes to shove, I enjoy playing with this team more than most teams I played with this year, right? Probably any team I played with this year. And it's, again, one of the reasons that I get so frustrated with Ultimate Team as a game mode is because I would love to take this team and develop it to being good enough to actually compete with this team, right? Obviously, this isn't even my main team anyway, but if I were to put back in Vidal and back in Kevin De Bruyne and back in Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't even know who else I'm missing here, but I'm missing someone else here. Renato Sanchez needs to be in there as well, doesn't he? If I, I wish truly wish I could go and get that Arsenal past and present squad, or even a full Arsenal squad, or anything to that kind of degree, and get it to a point where it's comparable with this squad. Because I'll tell you something, this Marco Reus card is one of the best cards I've used in the game this year, right? He is phenomenal. 38 goal contributions in 41 games, but in the Bundesliga managerial masterpiece that I was using him, he was just bundles of fun to play with, right? And just in general, he is just bundles of fun to play with. How cool would it be to be able to take one of my Arsenal players, let's say Saka, and I know Saka's got a Future Stars card. The Future Star Saka won't touch this Royce because it doesn't have 5-star skill moves. Let's say I could take that Saka and somehow get him to have 5-star skill moves. For me personally, and this is something I've spoken about over the last few years, but for me personally, that would add a level of enjoyment to this game that we miss greatly, right? I wish it was there. It's not there. We can't do that. But the closest thing we can do is something like this. Of course, I can still improve this squad. I can go and get Future Star Saka instead of Robert Pires. There's a few other players there that we could certainly get into the team, like a Vieira or an Henry, that would make this team considerably better. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. And then for the last comment from Jonathan, and Jonathan says, typical NepentheZ blames everything else except himself. Easy chip shot over the keeper with right. Oh no, instead he ball rolls around the keeper, then dribbles instead of shooting as he goes around, then blames right. Look where my shots are from. Like that is any indication of something good. Dude, 90% of your shots were horrible shot choices with defenders directly in front of you. Then he blames the game and auto blocks. Dude, blame yourself and stop blaming everything and everybody else for your lack of good decision-making choices. And in there somewhere, there is some value in that comment, right? Because we as FIFA players, and I think if we all look at ourselves in the mirror, we can all agree to the fact that when things aren't going well in FIFA, we like to blame the game as a scapegoat to underperforming for our own abilities, right? And that's fair enough. And quite often I'll look back at a game and I think, yeah, no, you're right. I could have chipped the keeper, or I could, when I ball rolled the keeper, much like with the first person's comment, Darren's comment, Darren's basically saying the same thing, but in a much more casual, more constructive manner. You would have won for sure if you just did things more simple. Ball roll past the keeper, got too close instead of shooting on at least 2 chances. That's like criticism and feedback that I can take on board and think, okay, yeah, I should have probably done that a bit better. I could have done that a bit better. I could have improved. The way Jonathan's comment is, not only is it not constructive in any manner, it's just harmful to us as a community, right? Like, we're all playing the same game. I'm here just trying to entertain. I'm not a machine. I'm not a robot, and I'm not a perfect human being. I make mistakes. I look for excuses. It's human nature to try and excuse our shortcomings and our shortfallings. We don't need this kind of abusive, toxic comment when things go wrong. Because if you're honest with yourself, Jonathan, I absolutely don't blame everything and everybody every time, right? There are so many occasions where I take responsibility. I made a bad pass there. I made a bad choice there. I did things wrong there. I could have done this. I could have done that. And there are also many times where I blame the game when it's my fault. And there are similarly many times where I do something right and it still goes wrong because of the game. And because of those 3 scenarios that come in, it's very, very, very disingenuous for you to say that I constantly blame the game, or only blame the game, or blame everybody but myself, because that's just not a fair representation of the way that I play this game. Do I blame the game sometimes? Yes. Do I make mistakes sometimes? Yes. Does the game screw me as it screws you sometimes? Yes. We don't need to get this deep. If you just don't enjoy the content because of the way the character that I have during gameplay, feel free to not watch the content. But we as a community, as a FIFA community, as a social media community, just in general, we got to just start being nicer to each other, man, because comments like this, they just hurt everybody. There's no productivity there. It doesn't help anyone. And I know I'm like almost preaching a little bit here. Like when I read a comment like that, it's genuinely one of the reasons why I typically stopped reading comments, because it's just not what anybody wants to see. However, similarly, when I read a comment like Darren's, where he's essentially saying something extremely similar to you, but in a much more positive, constructive way, it makes me want to read comments more because I want to be involved with my community, but I don't want to be involved with a toxic community that just wants to type nonsense for whatever reason, right? And that is where we're going to end it for today. As I said, there was no gameplay or anything here for you guys today. I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about the game. There are new icons in FIFA, and listen, my team, my club is at a level that I just never thought we'd get to this year. Okay, I still don't have the absolute super players, but there are a couple of these icons that have come out, specifically SEN and Dalglish, that I like the look of a lot. And I look at that SEN, I think, man, he could just be in our team for the rest of the game cycle. But then I think I've already got Renato and Vidal. I've already got probably about 4 or 5 other players that I could play in that centre mid role. De Bruyne, who's on the bench, and players like that. We've got team of the season around the corner. How? There's not, like, I don't know, man. There's just not enough hours in the day to enjoy all of the players to the degree of being worth the time and coin investment. But yeah, that is going to be the end of the video for today, guys. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like, rate, and comment, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But for now, guys, I'm out. Peace.